I guess, a team effort type deal. How many of you, this is your first meeting? I would say you blind, but I think you feel so much. That's what it is. Was welcome. I'll go ahead and tell you the little ground rules of this meeting. We don't point fingers at anybody. Got an issue on something, we will discuss it. We're not going to. Try to think of how we always put that, but.
No boxing.
Guys and gals, we're in here to work together. And if we start pointing fingers and blaming, like if I want to blame Bo for something, or we'd have just got together and worked through it, it would have been fine. But if we start throwing each other under the bus, we're not going to work together. Problems are not going to get resolved. With these meetings, we like to make these connections and resolve issues if we have them, make the contacts to where we all work together. Shouldn't be stopped in a little bit. Oh, God, I sent Tracy, I sent. But with that, I'll turn it over to Tammy and she'll go through the, wait a minute, Robert, do you need to do?
Level 1 safety.
One. I just remember where we were at.
We're have to do a level 1. Right now we're in a large kitchen and the room is got a room named 800 Wing
Maxime Kitchen.
and it's the Maxime. And the physical address is 4301 Yancey Road. The security guard number, if any issues, is 704-787-5853. And we have fire extinguishers, and should be one here and probably one over there. And if our evacuation points is go out this door, go out the parking lot, and stand in the rain and go over there by the gate that you came in. If you came in to the fire department here,
Then we get out the gate.
yeah. I'll hand me a call. 811 and
911.
nah.
Yeah.
What you gonna call, take it in?
No.
So we don't have to call them. I knew what you meant. I got you.
Okay, so Anna meet the first responders.
I know what you say. I want to shock somebody. That's all I want to do.
If we have a severe weather, the assembly of hornets will go out the store here, go up the hallway, the first hallway to your, up here to your, you go to your right and you go to the first hallway to your left and the men's and women's bathrooms are there. I guess I have to leave because I don't know.
Nobody can find it.
And since you have a list, can you make sure that everyone, evacuates, you have the list?
Yeah. I'll be the last one out.
Not right. We got an active shooter protocol, so avoid, barricade, and confront. So what we'll do is close the doors, lock the doors, and we'll hide behind the biggest person in here, biggest, strongest. I guess y'all have behind me then. Biggest, strongest.
You want to talk about you,
We can do a 30 for 30 for everybody. Want to every 30 minutes? What you do, you stand. So if somebody wants to keep the timer with that,
I don't want to watch. I'm poor.
I said it.
you set it.
Yes.
Okay. And the location of the AED is right here by the door. And we need somebody that can do that. Okay. Tracy. And who gonna perform CPR?
And you got to follow in that rule of 3 for me to
Yeah.
do that.
Staying alive. Staying alive.
And if Tracy falls out, we'll use Amy, since she's staying right there behind. The closest medical facility is Carolinas Medical Center, and they got the wrong address, but that's for the Mercy is failed. And the phone number here is on the wall. Guess that's it. We have a nurse on site. If she's here today, that's the contact number for her. So that's it.
It's medical center for Carolina's Medical Center, but I didn't think of the.
All right. That's it.
Thank you, Robert. It says 30 on emergency.
Something I did forget, Tammy corrected me again, it's our first meeting, so we've been off for a month or two. We always do introductions at these meetings, that way for the new ones, know who's here and all of that. Tim, I'm gonna start with you, buddy.
Sure, Tim Yorbro, Ansco.
Ann Rushing, North Carolina 811.
Brett Kilgo, CDOT.
Bo Turtle, Sam.
Chris Smith.
Probably you want.
Tom Karnowski, I'm an outsider, y'all. I flew to Florida just to see these two characters, so.
I think you said that wrong. You should have said, man, I flew over from Florida today just to make this UCC meeting. They just happened to be.
They just happen to be here. That's
I
right.
see, you could have got the longest, commute.
Furthest away.
See, since you didn't put it that way, you missed out on that $100 gift card. I get to keep it.
Next time. Next time. there'll be- See y'all.
Very glad you was asleep.
We're going to yes, I've traveled 112 miles to get here today.
Oh, you see, you came up for a meeting earlier, so you didn't see. See, maybe he's already spoke before the meeting.
Well, I think meeting one day.
Broken out. Dead Bonnie. Not yet. Rich Rose, right, yes. Mike Casey, yes. Not yet.
Chris Evidetti, Badger Piper Back. Jason Kirby, also field manager on the partner.
Joe Johnston, Compass Facility.
Pete Kersey, State Two. You guys picked up on that.
Pete Kersey, State Utility.
Jason sent you.
Justin.
Jason said he was completed.
Probably across the street.
Andrew Davis, Speed Consultants.
Did y'all hear him?
Andrew David, I'm right here.
Here's my phone.
Audrey Johnson, so.
Amy Hamilton, Heath Consultant.
Dr. Eric, Heath Consultants. Cody Shelton, Heath Consultant.
Kind of probably like that. Yes, like
They
that.
just talk.
Southern Water,
Charlotte Water and.
Yeah. First day.
Dr. Knight, Charlotte Water.
Bonnie. Bonnie Antio. That's fine.
I didn't hear what you said.
Bonnie.
Tracy Taylor.
For the new ones here, y'all can see we do try to have fun. We know what we do every day gets tedious and all of that, so we are gonna try to have fun. Ron, you're trying to sneak in back there. Tell everybody who you are.
Tammy Groves, North Carolina 811.
I'm Roger Richards. I work for Sanders Utility here in Charlotte. Been a chairperson for this committee way too long. I called Tammy this morning, just messing with her, and I said, what I tell you, I got some good news or bad news or something. I said, I'm not coming to the meeting today. I'm not going to make any more after that, so I'm done. Her response was, I will hunt you down, and I can't tell you the rest of that. But again, welcome. Thank y'all for being here. Am I forgetting anything else?
No, sir.
All right.
No, sir, you're on it. And he's right. That's pretty close to what I told him. I told him I wasn't above beating a winch down. For those of you folks that are online, if you have not already typed your information into the chat section, if you would, please put your name, the company you're with, your phone number, and any email information you'd like to share with anyone in this meeting. We will use this with our roster to show who all attended. Also, please put your microphones on mute when you are not speaking and unmute your mic when you want to talk. This meeting will be recorded and a copy of the video will be posted on the ncucc.org website. So, watch your language, and that goes for me as well. Also, if you forget to unmute, I promise you 53 people will tell you that you're still on mute. January, actually, we are just a couple days away from February. For anybody that is planning on doing Valentine's stuff, don't forget your favorite Valentine. Keep yourself out of trouble. Louis Panzer is our executive director, and he actually happens to be with us this morning. He's online. Good morning, Mr. Panzer. Would you like to do your monthly update?
I'd love to, if you can hear me in there. I don't know, do you have a microphone? Go, everything's
Yes,
good?
sir.
Okay.
Yeah, we can
So
hear you great.
beautiful. So Valentine's Day, we'll be down in Tampa at Excavation Safety Conference. So unfortunately, I'm going to have to find some other way to get my wife taken care of there for that. But we'll work around that. A couple of things quick. Welcome to 2023. Like you said, we're already wrapped up with the first one of 12 months. We're rolling towards Christmas, it feels like. We're bracing for more volume, and obviously you should too. Everything that we're hearing is that it ain't slowing down. If anything, it's picking up. Those rural broadband projects particularly are pushing folks to get as much down as fast as they can. That's going to drive a tremendous amount of ticket volume. So you'll see we were about 7% up last year, but we fully anticipate being higher than that. Northfield Dig Logics is coming out. I just got an email this morning, which I'll distribute through, I guess, our various channels here, but it has links to come in. If you're an excavator and you're looking for a solution for ticket management to be able to plan work and use it for project planning, creating tickets, capturing positive response, that's in that Dig Logics platform. The email that I got that we'll distribute allows you to request a demo if you're interested in that. I understand that the pricing is very, very reasonable. The last point here, I always like to come up with something clever if I can. But these three items, the three P's make up the fourth P. As we go forward into all this business and we're seeing things pick up, these three things will really help, and they don't stop you from being productive. In fact, they create a productive environment. Being patient with the folks that you're dealing with out in the field, proper planning, and following the process. Those three things will result in more productivity for yourself. If any one of those things breaks down, if you start getting salty with people in the field, guess what? They're going to get salty with you. Things are going to shut down, slow down, and you're outside the bounds of that cooperation at that point. So be patient, make sure that you plan properly, utilize the system properly, create tickets for the work you're going to do within the bounds of the area that you're going to be working, communicate with your locators. And I will tell you this is a nod to Duke and a positive one. And it's an interesting phenomenon, but we got a lot of information last year from the gas companies on no-call damages. Okay, so a huge thank you to Dominion, PSNC, Duke for that. One of the, or Piedmont rather, Duke, one of the things that we also recently got was Duke Energy's electric provided a damage list for us for 2022. And lo and behold, that list had email addresses for people who had they had designated as a no-call damage. So yesterday, like a fool, like a person with good intentions, I would basically set up the same mail that I had sent out in the postal mail last year to a series of these no-call damagers. I went ahead and created an email and went ahead through Office, created a mail merge using that list, and blasted out probably 200 to 300 emails in a blink of an eye. Just, again, the same information, reminding people that they need to remember to call, also asking folks if they could participate in a brief survey, because we're really trying to understand the reasons why someone would not call. Because we do know when they talk about awareness is high. It's not a matter of awareness. Most of those people on the list do call, but there's some reason or reasons why they chose not to in that particular instance that resulted in a damage. So I faithfully shoot out the email, within 5 minutes, my phone is blowing up because my cell phone number is in there. And lots of people calling, what's this about? Let me tell you what really happened, okay? And then I'm like, okay, that's great. But guess what? I got 2 more people on hold that are trying to call. I got about 60 emails, which I responded to this morning. Almost every single person is willing to participate in this survey. And why this is important is because we need to understand what it is that would cause someone not to. Is it their expectation that the process isn't working for them? Is it someone told them they had created a ticket? Are they working outside the bounds of the area that they thought was defined? Did they think they didn't need to because of the depth? Are they thinking there's a list of reasons that we're trying to capture? I made a very simple survey. It's just simply a Dropbox with a whole bunch of options for them to choose, and then an area where they can say other and put something else down, and then a free form box where they can tell their story, because let me tell you, many of these people have a story to tell. That's just a fact. Some of them were contrite. Some of them said, yeah, it was my bad. I definitely know we thought we were okay, but somebody told me that this area was safe, so I didn't need to call. And then other people were like, hey, let me tell you about the claims process. Okay. So I got a couple of earfuls of that too. The important thing about doing this survey and getting these people to do this is it gives us an insight into why someone would hit something, or why someone would choose not to call. Hey, we got municipals on this list. We've got builders. We got people professional excavators who call in under 99% of the time. So why in these instances did they not? Anyway, I'm on the soapbox, but I'm letting you know that what we're doing is collecting this information. We will translate this into a report that we can write up. I'm trying to work with Ahmed to get the questions approved through the process at the college so that we can actually take these results and turn them into a study. But if he doesn't get back to me by Monday with that approval, I'm going forward. I'm striking while the iron is hot. All these people have said absolutely they'll be happy to participate, so we're going to do that. We're over here on the root cause section. What this is about is when we capture damage information, we ask questions about what happened, where it was, that kind of thing. Was there a ticket? What we haven't done so good in the past is capture the details on root cause. And this is really significant as we take these damages, we put them up into the CGA dirt system. If we don't have this listed, it just says unknown, okay? And if these things are unknown, reported to CGA, our quality of that data is super low. They weight this question as the highest, with the most weight. It's over 50% of the weight that they throw it. And why? Because if we don't understand why something happened, then again, we can't break it down. We can't educate. We can't figure out where those issues are coming from. So we have this now as a Dropbox. Our CSRs are asking this question of every damage that's being reported. We're cleaning up our quality by getting this information in. So when you do call in, you will be asked these questions. What do you think the most descriptive cause is of the damage? And they'll check the box, and that information will be conveyed along with that damage report. So just wanted to say that. Also, if anybody has any questions for me before I toss it back over to Ann, I'm happy to answer.
Any questions, folks? So that root cause response list will allow a comprehensive list to choose from and make that in data better to determine that root cause of a damage. I mean, it's going to say no notification to the one call center, the excavator dug prior to the valid start date and time, mapping issues, excavator issues. You got the excavator in the ground and bounced off a rock. There's just going to be a really comprehensive list to choose from to determine why there was a damage. Anybody else? All right, thank you, Mr. Panzer. So we're gonna pop into the numbers for the month and for the year. Numbers for the month of December were actually up 5%. Ticket numbers, 171,186. December prior, we were at 163,104. So again, a 5% increase. Ticket numbers for the year, 2,497,873 locate request votes. That was a 7.1% increase over the year prior. And I always like to give that a little context. 2013, 10 years ago, 1.2 million locate requests for the year. 10 short years later, we have more than doubled that. That is why, Roger, you pass yourself in the hallway. Transmissions for the month, 915,621, a 1.5% increase for the month of December over the December prior, and for the year, transmissions up 3.5%, 13,452,158. The year prior, we were just shy of 13 million. As always, a reminder about the difference between a locate request or a ticket and a transmission. The ticket, that's what I'm calling in or entering through remote ticket entry or single address ticket, putting in a mailbox. A transmission is how many utilities are notified about every single locate request. Right now, on average, for every single locate request, there are 5.4 utilities notified. So in this area where I'm putting a mailbox, there might be water, sewer, gas, fiber, and electric. So there's 5 notifications or 5 transmissions to those different utility companies. Transmissions for the month of December for Mecklenburg County, if you can believe it, we're actually down 1.3%. December rounded out, including retransmits and updates, at 24,249 for the month. Average locates per day for Mecklenburg County were 1,212. 956 of those 24,000 were called in as emergency locates. 956. Ticket volume for the year for Mecklenburg County, hold on to your socks, 368,489 locate requests for Mecklenburg County. Again, including retransmits and update tickets. That is a 3.2% increase over the year prior. Ticket distribution for Mecklenburg County. Everybody's always surprised to hear that Charlotte had the bulk of that. 19,983 of those 24,000 and change. Huntersville, 1,482, Matthews, 777, and then Cornelius at 743. Damage events. There were 32 counties that reported no damages for the month of December. Mecklenburg reported 101 damage events. And yes, we were behind Wake this month. We always want to stay behind Wake in damages. Again, 32 counties, no damages. I would love to say that that's the case, but y'all, I'm not betting the farm on it. Just a reminder that if there's a damage, first protect yourself and the folks around you. If there's a release of product, by calling 911. Then you report that damage to the utility and then to North Carolina 811. Save the day. Don will have a little more information here in just a second, but the joint North Carolina, South Carolina UCC conference, May 3rd through the 5th. That will be at Harris, Cherokee. There will be some more information, and I think Ann may have some information to share with us just shortly. But the conference is May 3rd through the 5th. We'll be at the new Cherokee Tower. Everything will be in the tower. The meeting, the vending. Are rooms in the new tower? Rooms are in the new tower. So if you say you got lost, then I don't want to know why. For upcoming 811 and UCC events, please remember to visit the North Carolina 811 events calendar or UCC events calendar on the website, or you can also check for that information on your app. Roger, remind me, how much does the app cost?
You know, we just talked about this yesterday in our management meeting. I had to remind him that app's free.
Oh, it's a free app.
Yeah.
A free download for Apple and Android users where you can update locate requests, check positive response, enter tickets, check calendar events to see what's happening and where you might need to be. That is your education team. No, we have not hired Harry Potter, although I give Tyler a hard time about this. I tell him with a round pair of glasses, I'm going to expect him to do some wizardry.
Tyler, go ahead and respond to that.
I'm waiting.
Mm-hmm.
Folks, this is your monthly presentation from North Carolina 811. Again, we're going to continue to record this meeting, but I'm going to hand this back over to Richard. A copy of this presentation will be available at ncucc.org, PDF as well as video, and also our roster in case anyone needs that. With that, Roger, I'm going to go pick up my pen and take any notes I might need to take, but I'm turning this back over to you after I go back to, you want the year or the month? I'm going back over to slides. Yes, sir.
You said something in there that just sort of floored me. The reason I asked that, you said 900 and some odd emergencies.
956 emergency requests.
How, and I know we don't know this. You got something wrong.
I was gonna start.
Look at your microphone, dude. I thought he was gonna talk.
Please,
Can I get
so
the
that they can hear you. Yeah, because the mic's there. Yeah, please. Yes.
That way they can hear you online.
It's close. That way you don't have to.
Y'all know I hate these things, but anyway, what I was getting at is that out of the 956 emergencies that was called in, and this is going out really to our locate people. How many of those were legitimate emergency locate requests? I'm asking. And believe it or not, I got a look from, about the same look from both of y'all.
So do you want to hear a number for the year?
I probably don't, because that right there floored me. But go ahead, Ann.
I actually printed out some stats for the whole year because I was looking at damages, but when your emergency priority was 12,513 tickets.
For Mecklenburg?
For Mecklenburg.
Holy Toledo. But you know, it still goes back to legitimately how many were.
Do we know most of those coming from utilities or private developers?
That's a good question, Brett.
I would bet, I guess, it's private developers.
Do those emergency transmissions also include reported damage notices? Or are those excluded?
That would be just emergency.
Just emergencies? Does that, I mean, that could, if more people are reporting damages and calling them in as emergencies, just as a reporting system, that can increase the number of.
Well, there should be two tickets then. Should be a report of damage.
Yeah.
And then if they need to dig on that, then an emergency.
Right, there's normally 3 different types of reported damage tickets that we see. They can be rushes, emergencies, or.
Those are priorities. Yeah, and that has nothing to do with our tickets, that is how you may want to respond to those.
Okay.
Because the law states 3 full working days.
Right.
Do we, well. Ask that question, but I was gonna say. I'm gonna jump around here for a minute. Ron, I'm gonna call on you. For December, how many damages did y'all have on Piedmont stuff? If you got that pulled up.
Okay.
Okay, let me know when you get that. Because what I'm getting at is how many of that was Piedmont having to go out to do a repair, Charlotte Water having to go out to do a repair, and I know you got yours, so for December, what was the damage? How many?
26.
26. We're still at 900.
That's just city Charlotte.
That's right. But we're still at 956 emergency tickets. Y'all usually run 40 to 60, if I'm not mistaken. So between the two, we're still less than 100.
Denver, we probably have emergency tickets due to the cold. We don't want to make breaks. Services that
But
are
900, let's just say 900 of them,
right.
or 800 of them.
It was real cold. Yeah, we all know.
That's still a high number for me. Y'all didn't have that many emergencies throughout the city.
On Christmas weekend. I was stupid, I was watching.
So about 2 or 3 months ago, 5 emergency. Let's still be honest.
I kept moving on back here for a break.
So use it.
All right.
Get it.
And brought me the microphone. I was trying to get away from it, but
And,
what we're discussing with
Can you hear
facility
okay?
owners.
and yeah, we can hear. Can I just throw something out? One thing we can do is look at these break out these emergencies and then provide basically like a pivot table on the type of work that's being included. And that would probably help break down, is it like frozen pipes? Is it, is it somebody landscape? I mean, what are the work types that are in these emergency tickets? And we can probably, present that information. And I think that would be an important breakdown for folks to see.
So it's about 4%.
Wasn't it, Tim? You gotta have this.
So it's about 4% of the total amount of tickets. So what's the industry standard? Anybody know?
There is none.
As far as emergency tickets, so it's 4% of the total tickets for the month of December. I know we're about 30% nationwide on updated tickets. What would it be on emergency tickets?
So there isn't a standard for updates either. We're running 31%. As far as on the updates, as far as I understand, the average really should be in the low 20s. So we really are higher in the update percentages in the state than we are on a national average. I've never heard an emergency national average presented anywhere to know what those percentages would even look like. But again, this is an area that pretty much every state has a law that says this is the definition of an emergency, life, health, and property, etc. Risks, and yet we all know that this is happening not just here but everywhere. So I think this is an interesting thing to break down. And also, we have had at least 2 cases. I know one for sure that was shown to be a violation when it was presented to the Underground Damage Prevention Review Board. I believe the most recent one that occurred, there wasn't enough information, if I'm correct, Ann. Is that right?
Correct.
So, but the point is that it is a violation and listed in the law to present a false emergency. But the question is, what constitutes that? In the eye of the beholder, what we hear is some people say, well, yeah, I need to get my sewer line repaired. It's an emergency to me because my toilets are backing up, or whatever the case might be. Is it a life, health, or property? Again, you'd be hard pressed to debate that with somebody if they feel that way. But we certainly know that there's plenty of these that are simply a matter of the emergency is that I need to get this work, this paid by this guy, and he wants the work to be done. Are we all moving? Okay, I didn't know if that was a new dance move, Ian, or this is our standing moment here. So we just stand up here, okay?
No, Louis, you got a standing ovation.
Oh, well, listen, please sit down, everybody. On my account, you don't have to do that. I know, honestly, you don't have to. Please keep the applause down. I mean, yeah, right. So no, I mean, this is a true issue, just like updates and everything else. And honestly, this is a great thing to add to the LRPC in terms of analysis, because we focus a lot on 3-hour notices and updates and break that down by county. But I think this emergency breakdown would be a really good thing. My 2 cents. Please, everybody, sit down. You can stop applauding now. I'm kidding.
Thank you, Louis. But yeah, and we were gonna talk about the updates and 3 hours. And was talking about this prior. Right. Well, now you gotta use, I gotta use it, you do too.
If you remember, when you talk about this,
Back when people decided to open the emergencies up, the RTE. Everybody in this room says, we're gonna get about 25% increase, boom, right off that. Then we asked how many of those RTE emergencies is gonna be screened, make sure that they are emergency. What's that number?
And I mean, Louis is on the call too, and I'm sure we would have to verify that because there is an audit rate, and it doesn't necessarily mean that all those emergencies are going to be audited by any means. Am I correct on that, Louis? We're not auditing the emergencies through RTE, correct?
No, that's not, because again, it's just like if somebody calls us or contacts us and tells us it's an emergency, we're not going to make that call, shut them down, just like, that's just not something NC 811 is going to do. On the back end of it, and if there's a particular thing that we identify, perhaps through LRPC, or if somebody has a concern about something, and brings it to RTE and it's a web ticket, they could reach out to them with a reminder that this is the definition and someone brought it to their attention. But are we specifically auditing for that? No.
You got something going.
So on the emergency front, I can't speak to every state in the US, but USIC's national numbers around emergency percentages. We see it state to state varies between 3% and 6%. Nominally, the 4% that Mecklenburg experienced in December is on par with what we say we see as a company nationwide. That being said, it's well under 1% though, that by USIC's estimate, that they're a reasonable lay person's decision that it is a true emergency. Said differently, your fence installs and your last second gardening and landscaping done by commercial landscapers, they tend to be the absolute worst offenders, and that's a nationwide trend, followed very quickly by the farmers. So for what it's worth, those are some things I bring to the table for you.
Did you say 4 to 6 nationally? Is that what he said? 4 to 6%?
Yes.
Nationally? Okay.
3 to 6.
3 to 6.
3 to 6. Okay, sorry.
It's the range, yeah, 4% nominally.
but what is the root cause of the emergency? That's the
Yeah.
question that needs to be answered. Sometimes homeowners get frustrated because time after time after time calling a ticket, no one responds. Then they call an emergency, get their flowers planted. It's that simple. I get a lot of complaints from the small locates that do not get located. How many of those emergencies? Question, don't know.
So I just did some calculation. So I just looked at the numbers that we have for emergencies and based on the overall volume. And I do apologize. I did the the national number, so, hold on one second. Sorry.
Right. I mean, so y'all only had, Piedmont Natural Gas only had 24 damages in Mecklenburg to y'all's 26.
Yeah.
50, 51, somebody. Will be at roughly, let's just, for argument's sake, 50
24%.
50 damages for December. Yeah, just what Tim was saying. But yeah. Oh, wait a minute, everybody's got to hear you.
I can talk about it.
And I can't hear you.
I mean, that's just Charlotte Water, PNG, AT&T, but there's Duke, there's Spectrum, there's so many other ones that I would have to think that damages alone are probably in that 20%.
See, that's a damn. We're talking about emergency.
No, but the emergency to fix the damage. I mean, somebody cuts an AT&T line, Tim is gonna have to call in a ticket to repair it. Somebody cuts a primary, a gas service, a water service, a drop, they're gonna have to call an emergency to fix it. And I would guess that that is somewhere in 20%. And to Lewis and Ann's point, you know, it's really hard to define emergency. If you were going to nitpick one, Tom's point, it's probably plumbers. And it's, I call it an emergency today, but at the bottom of the ticket, it says I'm not gonna be there for 10 minutes. Right, I won't be there until tomorrow morning. But what sort of planning has to go into them getting their equipment there and follow? Is it still an emergency if they need to do it in 12 hours? Or not?
Yeah.
But if an entire apartment complex is out of water, but it's gonna take them 11 hours because it's not city water and it's private, and it's gonna take them 11 hours to get everything in place to fix it, but that still be an emergency. I think the answer is probably yes.
Can you clarify something? Are you saying 20% of all emergencies are involve a damage? Or are you saying 20% of all damages that you're reporting were the result of an emergency?
Well, I mean, if you look at Mecklenburg County for December, there were 101 damages. My assumption, that's 101 emergencies. That's reported damage. So that would be 101 emergencies in theory, right? And that's just the reported. So if you take into account the ones that don't get reported, but the utility company still needs to fix, that number is probably, maybe 20 is too much. But it's gonna account for quite a bit. I mean, there's 50 just from two hearings.
I'm just asking for the clarity on the 20%. You're suggesting that 20% of the damages are related to emergencies, or 20% of the emergencies result in a damage?
20% of the emergency tickets probably have something to do with the damage.
With the damage, okay. I just wanted to get clarity, because when I heard 20%, I was like, wow, that's like, if you're talking 20% of the tickets, I would disagree, but maybe that's a possible, you know, that's possible.
Over 10%.
Well, there's a little discussion in the room.
No, like Lewis was saying, in the locate resolution partnership committee, that's another avenue that we can look at, report that we can look at in that. That still just seems high to me. Poor planning on their part should not constitute an emergency on the locator's part. Okay, because me and Don was discussing this prior to the meeting. Just December, y'all as locators had 1,212 locates to do per day. don't have the manpower. Nobody in this room can actually raise their hand and say, we're overstaffed, we've got too many employees.
And that's December, that's the holidays. Typically, it's around 1,500.
14 to 1,500. Right. And that's what I was saying in our management meeting yesterday, till I pulled this up, and said, well, my bad, in December it was just 1,200. We feel like, and I said, we're not looking at it Don, again, thank God.
You gotta fix it.
Fix that, Rod.
I,
Call it emergency, fix it.
You did.
God, you weren't supposed to catch it. She popped it over that. It's got short in it. Can y'all hear me? It's got a red light on. I will speak loud. Can y'all hear me on?
Yes, we can. I dropped out for a second, but I'm back on.
Thank you. I'm gonna walk back out here. How about right here? Is this all right? I need a pay raise. Louis, I need a pay raise. Y'all done made me forget what, me and Don was talking that one of the things that we, feel is contributing to 3-hour notices going up is that, as we talked about last week, and this is where I'm relying on everybody that was at the locate resolution committee meeting. There's companies out there doing update tickets where the work duration they're putting in is for 1 day. And they're updating these tickets 3, 4, 5, 6 times for a work duration of 1 day. So the locators, not that they ain't busy enough at 1,200 locates a day to get done, we all understand y'all are rushed. So you run out there, you locate what you can, and I hate to say quickly, we're human, we miss something. The contractor gets out there, sees something that wasn't located, does a 3-hour ticket. I feel like if companies would, and I always go back to Sam Gonzalez, clean their own house, get these tickets out of there, that would ease the burden on the locators, and the locators could, who said y'all were only there 30 minutes on the locate? Don, is that what me and you was talking about prior?
Back in the day before we.
Okay. Okay. Right, like Don's saying, they used to be able to have 30 minutes on the ticket. You don't have that anymore because on average, Jermaine, and I'm gonna ask you, what is your locators responsible for in a day, locates? I mean, we know it's 1,200 for Mecklenburg County, but y'all don't have 20, 30 locators for Mecklenburg County, do you? Oh, so y'all's number, why ain't y'all getting that located?
Well, we get update tickets when they update a whole job when they've done that.
And that was something else that was discussed, is these big project tickets. And I'm gonna say, you call me because I've got a project ticket and you say, hey, I got your updates, and I just tell you, locate it all. Instead of being able to say, Jermaine, we're only gonna be between point A and point B. And we can stay in communication if something should change. That's where the communication part should come in.
But here's the problem. Got somebody in the office that's sitting in the office, they hadn't been out in the field. And they're making all these decisions about what's going on in the field.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have a contact for the person who's really doing the job.
I don't disagree, because that is a lot of the issues also. Is you've got that lady sitting in the office, she's got that on her calendar on her desk that says update. She goes through and updates those tickets for the days that she has, and the field people are not communicating to the office that job's complete. I always talk about us, our company. I don't care. I mean, I do care, but I don't care. Yesterday, in our management meeting, we go through our tickets every 2 weeks in our management meetings. We took 9 tickets off yesterday because every superintendent's in that meeting and that list goes to them for them to look at. We're not a perfect company. God knows we're far from it. But if we can take 5 minutes to go through all of our tickets for each superintendent to look at it and say, keep it, keep it, keep it, we can take this off. That would benefit the 811 system, take noise out of it, which in turn takes pressure off of y'all as locators. Then you can have the time or take the time. I hate to say to do everything right. Again, y'all know I'm on y'all's side. But you're not rushed. And then you turn around because this contractor's hit something. They got to take off over here for this emergency. Not counting the not so emergencies that people are calling in. So it to me goes back to people that come to these meetings that know what's going on. And I could venture to say that it's no one in here that makes that list for excessive updates and stuff like that.
So one thing, if I could piggyback off of that, for example, we got an email that, and I'm not going to name names or anything like that, but this was a 4-week duration job, and it was for placing underground pipe. And the complaint was that these tickets go back to April of 2022. Okay, so the number of updates on this are just extensive. I mean, obviously, I'm looking at it. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I mean, you could do the math. It went back to April for a job that they said was going to take 4 weeks. So like you said, either someone's on autopilot and they're just hitting the button. Someone is just telling them, just keep all this work live. And they're not letting them know that the work's done. Or it was a failure of the process from the beginning because they started it and they never really started the work. So these are all things that we need to better understand, because in these cases, we need people to tell us about these kinds of things. I mean, we need to know so that we can reach out to them and better understand, in a lot of cases, stop it. Because we have stopped a few things where they were like, ooh, my bad. You know, I know we said we were building a fence and it's taken a year. I guess we should have stopped those tickets. Yeah, you think? But sometimes we have to step in and, you know, point that out to people. But yeah, it's definitely a challenge.
Make sure he's through. Okay. Has anybody got anything to add on that? Ann?
Okay, so just for some of you folks that are new here, just to kind of give you an update on what we're doing, and I know, Don, you attended the LRPC other day. As Lewis mentioned, you know, we do look at reports of, you know, if you put a ticket in, you say you're going to do your work and it's only going to take 1 day or less. So as we are looking at those reports, we do have a breakdown of tickets. How many times were they updated? So if they land on that list, then our liaisons, they get those reports, they look at those contractors and say, okay, this is in my area, I'll reach out to them. That's one shotgun approach. Another is all of those reports are given to the top 5 members. They have the opportunity to look at those reports too. And I know Tim's here in the room, you know, because they're a contractor for AT&T, we extract the data specifically for Tim. And one of the items that he requested, which we can do that for anyone, is Tim says, in order for me to look through all these tickets, I need the job order, job number. So where do they put that? They put that in the remarks field on the ticket. So we have pulled specifically that remarks field so that Tim can go back and match up those job numbers. So we can do that for our members. If you guys, and contractors, obviously, if you would just let us know what you need. Cause it is, as Lewis likes to say, it is a whack-a-mole every month. And it is a bird pecking the water, it is our head pounding against the wall. We all participate. We need locators to let us know, hey, we're having an issue with this one particular contractor, can you reach out? I know Dan Bayer and I are gonna go and meet with one of their contractors in the upcoming weeks to figure out what are their processes. You know, why are they continuing to update and update and update? It's an ongoing effort, and as much as we've worked as hard as we have to reduce those update tickets, the volume is going up. So, as Lewis mentioned before, it is just a constant, battle, and we need everybody to do their part. That's the only way we're gonna be able to help each other. Is there a magic answer? No, there's not. We talk about this month over, but what we can do is continue the process. Hey, this is what I can do. As Roger mentioned, that's an easy process. Contractors, you guys meet every week, every 2 weeks, and look at these tickets and say, what can we pull out of the system? You're seeing a continual issue, they're updating, you know, all these tickets and half of them are done, let us know. I'll stick Tammy on. They don't want to mess with her.
Actually, I will say there's a couple of folks in here who have done that, you know, and y'all know that I'm not gonna call you out and I'm not gonna say, well, hey, Mr. ABC contractor, Ron, you neighbors with Piedmont Natural Gas, here's her phone number, told me that you were doing it. I am going to be very careful about how I approach that information and how I approach that concern, because in my mind, you've got to work with people in the field. You've got to be able to have that good working relationship. So I'm not going to dime you out. Please, you know, reach out to me. Again, there's several folks in here who have, and I've been able to reach out to some contractors and say, hey, are you still doing this job? Oh my God, no, we're done with that. Okay, well, you know, those tickets are being updated, just checking to see if that's happening. So please continue to do that. And if you haven't, you're having that issue, please reach out. I'm a phone call, a text, an email away.
I'm gonna coattail on that and say if it's a utility contractor, if you point at me like that one more time, Bo. Bo directed me back to the microphone. But what I was gonna say is I'm gonna coattail off of Tammy. If it's a utility contractor that does water and sewer, what we do, let me know. I'll contact them. I know about all of them in this area. They're all part of another organization that we're affiliated with. And Lewis, I think you're going to sort of mention something on that in April. Am I right? April? Yeah. At that meeting. But I don't mind calling them. I'll call them out in a minute and I'll say, hey, y'all need to do something about that. You made the list. I've done it before.
So, but to Tammy's point, and this is critical, and you know this too, Raj, one of the reasons that Mecklenburg is so highly attended with such a wide variety of people, and including excavators, is that we're not, and locators. I'm going to tell you, as we go around the state, there's locators lacking in some of these. Why? Well, for one reason, they get the crap beat out of them at those meetings, and they don't want to take the abuse, right? The difference is if everybody can talk and work together and understand who we are and network, that's how these processes get, smoothed out, takes out the rough edges. I mean, I cannot tell you, yes, we will communicate in a friendly manner with web TMS or web ticket creators, RTE users. If we find out, and someone has to let us know that they're putting in too much area, or they're kind of abusing the system in terms of size or those kind of things. You let us know if it's a web ticket user, we will absolutely reach out to them and talk to them and re-instruct them on the right process. But the minute it starts getting into that whole thing of of really, it's your fault and you're holding me up and it's the damn law and I don't care. You're going to locate this. And they don't appreciate the fact that everybody's got a role here. Once that happens, it all breaks down, because the key word here is a C word: communication.
I agree with that, Lewis. And I was just sort of pointing at, when you're talking about arguing and not getting along, I was pointing at Jermaine. But honestly, we've got USIC here and Heath that we deal with a lot. And how many times have I called y'all and said, hey, look at Prime Point one time? But Lewis, it's like you're saying, communication and these meetings are very important to make those contacts, because ultimately, if we can look out for each other, and the whole goal of these meetings and everything 811 does is to prevent damages. So if we work together instead of against each other, we should have a reduction in damages. We're communicating back and forth and we all have a good relationship. But there is contractors out there, I understand that you can't talk to, and they can't talk to you. The new girl's over here shaking her head, yeah. But it's true. I mean,
let me tell you, Raj, that email that I sent out yesterday, I learned a valuable lesson. One valuable lesson was don't send out a mail merge email to 300 or 400 people. The second one was don't put your cell phone number in there. The third one was there's a wide variety of reasons for these folks why they had an incident. I mean, all across the board. And that's really important. And those folks want to be heard. When I ask them, I say, well, are you willing to participate in a survey? 99% of them, except for the one guy who thought the government was going to come to his door and take his shovel away from him or something, but other than him, everybody else was to the person saying, yeah, we want to be able to explain that, this was the reason why that cut occurred, whether it was install depth or someone told them this, or, they were waiting for whatever the problem was. It's all over the place. And we will capture that information and report it back, and hopefully do, be able to turn that around into, into some education and clarification in some areas. Yeah. So that's the hope. I had to tell them I'm not a claims man, because that was the first thing. They're like, well, we already sorted this out. We already got an invoice from such and such. Why are you bothering me? And I'm like, okay, I'm not with a claims company. And I'm not looking for no trouble. I'm not asking you for nothing except your help in letting us understand this problem. But boy, some of those people were hot.
Lewis, are you off your soapbox now?
I just fell off of it. Yes, sir.
I'm just kidding with you, buddy. But I will say I'm gonna get off my soapbox on that, because hey, everybody knows that's a touchy subject with me. It's why we can't communicate and get along and work together on this. So with that, I'm gonna move on. Tammy's back here kicking me. But damages, Ron, you've already said 24. For Piedmont, did they all have tickets? Don't. Okay, no, I'm just, that's fine. Oh, Joel, Ann just told me you was on here, so you got a report for Piedmont?
I've been off for 30 days. This is my first day back, so maybe someone else, like if Jim's on there, maybe he can answer that for you.
Hey, Roger, I am on.
Okay.
Yeah, for the damage we had, we did have 7 damages, no call damages in December.
7.
Yep.
Okay. Ron said thank you.
And I was just going to mention, as far as like our ticket volume and that sort of thing, In Charlotte, we were actually up 2% from last year, so not very much, but we're slightly up as far as ticket volume goes. Any other information you want me to get, Roger?
Like I said, no.
Sooner than God did. Had to. Let me go. That would take all day.
Don, can you do something about that?
So, it's been trying to control.
Jermaine, y'all got any, or I'm sorry. Hey, I've moved enough.
Will you sit down?
Man, I don't have. Okay. Brian, y'all got anything on heat?
Whatever.
Yeah. Moving along, we've got the slide up for the yearly numbers. And looking at that, and like we were discussing the 3-hour tickets. Boy, it messed me up, that screen.
Sorry.
You know, the 3 hours went up 23%. Updates was 10%. So for the year, I'm gonna say that's really not that bad. But the 3 hours are. Well, for the whole 3-hour notice tickets. That's crazy. With that, Ronya, you want to come up and discuss the joint conference? Tell anything about it? Why you look at Tim? You looking at Tim and Tim's looking at you. That's the funny part.
Yeah.
Oh, it started working again?
So the committee did meet about the upcoming time. And it is gonna happen in, what is it, May?
May 3rd through the 5th.
3rd to the 5th at Cherokee in the new, very brand new building they just built. You will have a lot of vendors this time because there's a lot of space now. There's some things everywhere. And anything on
I don't think so. We will have like a spot up to probably 100 vendors. So that, like Ron said, last time I think we were somewhere limited around 35, 40 vendors. So some people got that out.
Okay. So you won't have to park where we generally do make it go to the.
The registration cost, is $125. If you are late registering, it will be $150.
Yeah, get that microphone.
125 registration, 150 late. If you are attending the conference with tax, and then there's also a day use, you're looking at about 149 per night for the room. So I'm just giving you the full overall cost. So the room rate is less, but once you add all the tax and everything, you're right under 150.
The resort
And then
fee.
resort fee and tax. And then our vendors are $900 and late are $1,000. So of course, as was mentioned, we will have golf on Wednesday, and that will be over at Sequoia National. For those that are attending that, I think there was some banter back and forth about who's going to be on whose team. It is a blind draw, and the reason is so that there can be some networking with a vendor. So there will be a vendor applied to each team, and then it will be a blind draw from there. So that way you can meet all the vendors and network.
Badger's providing transportation.
Badger is providing transportation, so thank you already in advance for sponsorship of that. And so what that means is a bus will pick you up downstairs, it will take you and bring you back so that should you partake of some adult beverages, you should be fine. And your lunch will be included.
One trip.
One trip. The, yes, you will get a $25 voucher for free play. So that kind of gets your toes dabbled in the water. And that is a one-time voucher. So you'll get that as you check in, I think is the way it works. We had asked them, I think in the past, had you denied housekeeping, you would get an extra $25, but they're not doing that anymore. So if you should ask, that's not going to happen. So one-time $25 voucher. We will have a dinner on Thursday night, working on some entertainment for that. So we're excited about that. And then there should be some sort of entertainment on Wednesday night as well. And that will be yet to come. I know Lindsay's working on a lot of that for you all. We're working on the speakers, and the registration should be up hopefully by the end of next week. And then finally, the locate training. There will be 30 spots available. We could go up to, I think, 34, but we really want to try to keep it around 30. First 30, no more than 3 per company. So whatever your organization is, if you've got more than 3 folks that want locator training, you need to pick your top 3, and it's first in. So if you get on that, you get your registration in early, your name. As soon as we book out to 30 or 34, then we will cut that off. You will not have access to be able to register for that. So I think I've covered everything, right?
Do you want to share anything about some potential speakers? I know you have a few lined up, or
we are still working on.
Okay.
That. So we do have some really dynamic. We're looking at some cybersecurity type stuff. What else do we have?
mental health.
Yeah, mental health. We're looking at some issues with that, as we're dealing coming out of COVID. And so we've got a lot of dynamic speakers. We're working on that. So please attend. We look forward to having everybody there this year. And we also, I think one of the items that we had talked about, and Lewis was going to check with Northfield, if you are talking with Northfield about the locate logics, we hope to have that vendor on site as well so that you can personally speak with them. All right, thanks.
Thanks. Just like, just play it right.
Does anyone?
Roger, before you go, this is Mark with Dominion Energy. We're a small player in Mecklenburg County. We only received 900 tickets for the month of December, but we did have 3 damages from no notification. And that's kind of unusual to have 3 in a county like that. Over the years, our no notification damages have kind of held steady, even though ticket growth has grown pretty good. Our tickets last year were down 1% across our system. And I'd like to really thank NC 811 for that, and gave some numbers about the percentage of 3-hour tickets. Well, we normally have the original ticket located before the 3-hour ticket is submitted. And we're only receiving a fourth of the 3-hour notices that the average person in the state is. We had 1/4 of the percentage of our tickets were 3-hour tickets. So if that system right there is working, and I really do appreciate it.
Mark, I apologize for not calling on anybody. I can't see who's on.
I know, and it's tough to jump in a real good conversation, especially when somebody's soapbox. No, anyway, I lose. It was a good conversation
Excuse
going on,
me,
and
I
I
think you're
hated to
talking
jump
about
in.
me there.
Yes, I was. Well, I know, no, I never finished your name, but no, it was a real good conversation. It's tough for somebody online just to jump in, but no, really, the concept of not getting that 3-hour ticket if you have your tickets located, that has been fantastic for us. It was still too many 3-hour tickets, but we're not getting the same amount everybody else is. And I think when we developed that 3-hour ticket, we were expecting that to be maybe along the same lines as an emergency count or even a cancellation count. We never dreamed that a 3-hour percentage would be this high.
Anyone else online? Anyone else online? have
Yeah.
anything?
Anyone else online have anything while I'm standing up here where everybody can hear you?
Hey, this is Dave Talbert. I would like to throw out the Atlas. We are still working on the Project Atlas. I know there's a lot of, people on the call and a lot of people in the room. Project Atlas is, where we, are reaching out and getting, facility information from, each of the, utility owners. I will say that I heard the other day that it's paying off, environmental, with the NCDOT was able to do an environmental plan without having to spend a ton of money. So using Project Atlas and its layers. So I just wanted to give a plug in for the Project Atlas. Thank you.
Thank you, David. Anybody else online?
Hey, Roger. Hey, this is Carl. Kind of to piggyback on what David just said.
I think he's on. I can't hear him.
Is that Carl?
Okay, sorry. Yeah.
There
can y'all
you
hear me
go,
now?
Carl.
Sorry. Hey, so just to piggyback on what David just said about Project Atlas, and Lewis, I had to drop off, so I may have missed it. Did y'all already talk about like some of the stuff from the board meeting? If not, I'll just give a couple of things.
No, Carl,
David,
was waiting on you.
okay. All right, Roger. So yeah, David just mentioned Project Atlas that Colliers is under contract with NCDOT for. But one thing that Byron said during the meeting, I thought kind of went hand in hand with Project Atlas. I could be wrong, but it's their project delivery network, NCDOT projects delivery network, where they're trying to basically engage with utilities early in the planning stage, trying to eliminate or plan around utility relocates. So they're trying to engage best if I remember correctly, something like at least 25% before 25% plans are done. So I don't know how DOT is planning on doing that, but I thought that was pretty interesting. And they're updating the utilities accommodations manual, the one that they gave out. Y'all correct me if I'm wrong, Lewis and Tammy, and I think that was what, a couple of years ago. I think they're updating that.
That document was in the works for 10 years at least.
I
'Cause
know, that's what
I
I'm
got
like.
here. I mean, I got an orange DOT hat when I first got here 11 years ago, and a promise that manual was coming, and I think it did get released finally. Byron will probably kill me, but I think it did come out last year, and they've got it online as well, where it's searchable and things. And I think he is looking to make some more modifications.
Yeah. I got you, Lewis. That was back when I had hair too, so don't worry. Um, and I also thought one thing was interesting is they're encouraging their staff to attend the local UCC meetings. So I don't know if we have anybody from DOT with us or not, but I thought that was pretty interesting. And the last thing I'll leave with this, y'all probably already mentioned it about Charles Pittman getting the oh, you all did? Okay, all right.
No,
So I'll
we
leave it
didn't
on.
call.
No, they did not.
Oh,
Yeah, the
okay.
Ray Killer
All right.
Award. Yeah, that was a
Yeah.
big honor. And,
Mhm.
and we did send out a press release as well this morning on that exact thing. And really kind of, for those of you who don't know, there's a sort of a lifetime achievement award for exemplary damage prevention service over a long span of time. And as he mentioned, Charles Pittman left the board after 14 years. He was the League of Municipalities representative. And we did, the board honored him at that board meeting with a plaque and a recognition of that achievement and that award. And you know, we were super grateful to do it. And Carl's not telling you, but I get kind of weepy in those situations, so I got a little bit emotional. But Charles is amazing person. Did a lot. He was the first. He brought the first computer into the city of Wilson back in the 70s. So anyway, it was a really good moment, and we appreciate that. You bringing that up. Thank you.
No worries, Lewis. I thought that was timely, and you could tell he really appreciated it. And you know, even after the award, and you know, down in the lobby and all that good stuff. I mean, he's a good guy. So congratulations to him. So thanks for doing that. Other than that, I don't have anything to add with the group. Thank you.
Thank you, Carl. Anyone else online? Anybody in the room? What is that now? I'm not running to you, but I'm gonna bring it to you. Hold on, wait a minute. You gotta have a microphone.
Yes. Because I do want to recognize a new member to the Underground Damage Prevention Review Board, and that is Dan Robinette. So everybody, if you have questions, Dan can also answer some in regards to the Underground Damage Prevention Review Board. So he came on representing the locator industry, and just want to remind you folks, we have updated the website. The minutes are there if you want to go back and look at anything. And if you are wanting to currently, until we get the solution built out, to search for cases, the way those are listed is from way back when the first case was docketed, down to the most current, will be at the bottom of that list. So if you want to look at something current, just scroll all the way down to the list, look to the far right, and there will be a case number. So if you have a case number, you'll be able to find it, find any information that's docketed. And that is the latest update on that. Thanks.
Talk about it. Well, I can tell you about a lot of new developments making that will come into play this year. South Boulevard between Tremont and East, or South Boulevard between Tremont and East Boulevard has 230+ tall high rises coming. Which will have huge impacts to what we have going on out there already. Draw Water has a 20-inch and 12-inch water main project that's going to go from the length of Cedar Street from Moorhead all the way to the cemetery. State Utilities taking the lead on that project. That will probably kick off third or fourth quarter of this year. The Uptown Cabaret site, dry utility relocation probably start on that project here in the next month. And then directly across the street where Enterprise is, we've got another project going in there. So that's a huge impact for folks coming into the Uptown area. Uptown's got a Moxie Hotel project that's in the making. Well, it's already started. It's near the Transit Center. Museum of the South location at 7th and College. We've got a 36-story high-rise residential going in there. And that will have huge impacts to College Street. And directly across the street, we have that library redevelopment project. So 7th Street will probably be closed for a period of years in that area. Duke Energy's got a utility duct bank, 15-way, that's going up 4th Street from the Elizabeth substation. Is coming down King Street and going 4th Street all the way up to Brevard. That's probably kicking off in the summer. They've also reached out to us about some major thoroughfares in this city that possibly could be going to underground because of the proximity of poles at the roadways. And that would include South Boulevard between Scaly Bark and Woodlawn, Park Road between Woodlawn and Park Road up, or the creek, Central Avenue from 277 Bridge up to East 10th Street, and I think there's some other locations in there, so. I think they put all this on y'all's plate, but there's a lot of stuff coming in to Charlotte, plus we have numerous other developments that I'm just not gonna talk about, but those are the major players, so. Other than that, I don't have a lot, and then obviously all the utilities, Google's still kicking up and getting bigger. I know AT&T's got their light gig that's gonna kick off, and we've got a lot of light gig projects for AT&T, amongst other utilities, so. That's all I've got for now, up to everybody, but it's a lot. So, the
Job.
city has grown like a weed.
Job security.
So in other words, what you're saying is if you travel South Boulevard, find a different route. Anybody else have, and you come in a little bit late, so we missed introductions on you and you thought you was gonna get away with it.
First time, so.
So you can tell everybody who you are, who you're with. And you know, don't have to keep it off.
Check his email. Well, my name is Fela Bath. I am a real estate broker consultant, in South Carolina. And my license is for children.
Go ahead. I'll say that.
Thanks, Brendan.
Well, if you get something, got something out of this. Very open meeting, as you can tell. What's that, Brian?
Start buying the rest of it myself.
Oh, God, we can't afford it. Don, you got anything? I'm looking at you.
We trying to figure out how to take street sweeper to the food bank, all that we talk about.
Wait a minute, oh, did you have something to say? Oh, yeah. Oh,
Yeah, I do have a question, and you might can answer it that way. Or maybe this fellow behind me that just got on this new committee. So when you call in locate things, supposed to wait 72 hours, right? What if you get positive response on everything before 72 hours is up? Are you clear to dig on that or not?
What's your interpretation?
Yes.
So it's 3 full working days. So first of all, make sure you understand it's not 72 hours because there are some states that go by the time, but it's 3 full working days, not including holidays and that. And yes, if you do have complete response from all the folks electronically, you are able to dig prior to. Secondly, that doesn't preclude you from, if you go on site and you see something on there, some above ground evidence that something's there, maybe somebody cleared the ticket, then you still should call in that 3-hour notice. So, but those are the caveats.
It has to have some sort of positive response or the 3 working days has passed. Yeah.
100%, yeah.
Response. That means there has to be a positive response.
Right.
in there.
What does the response code always looking for? Are we looking for clear, mark, not complete? I mean, not complete is actually a response.
I mean, you got to follow what's there. Obviously, if somebody says it's not complete and it's 2 days in, you want to wait and see if it's completed by the end of the 3 days. When we say all the responses are in, we're talking about a definitive, it's clear, it's marked, whatever the case might be. If they're telling you a 60 that they've negotiated some arrangement with you, that doesn't constitute, okay, I can go dig. You know what I mean? You got to understand the differences there. And I can't reiterate enough, there are screening centers out there. So if somebody screens a ticket and tells you it's clear, but you go out there and you see a box that tells you clearly that there's something there, they probably missed it on their maps or something when they cleared the ticket. You're still responsible to notify with that 3-day or that 3-hour notice if you see evidence of it.
Does that answer your?
Sure.
Thank you, sir.
He looks frustrated though.
Anybody else?
I think so. You want me
How
to-
about Robert?
Robert, Robert.
No, Robert's just itching to tell us something. Go ahead.
I know we've got a lot of, excuse me, a lot of unlocables right now, and actually our work coordinators found out that if you have to do a street cut, you actually have to get a permit, and it may take a little longer, so we got some unlocables that start with E&G. They're in the process of making sure they do it, because we got a phone call, so sorry, guys, but I'll do what I can to work.
Okay. Anybody else? Somebody raises their hand on that side of the room, I'm controlling this microphone.
Safe travels home.
What court?
Safe travels home.
We ain't finished quite yet. We just want to make sure y'all didn't have nothing. And Tammy does have something.
Yes, sir. Next meeting, February 22nd, 10 o'clock. Piedmont Natural Gas, Miss Rania Neighbors, has offered to provide lunch at that meeting. Location to be determined. I will let you know. Hopefully the tech center will be available, but February 22nd, 10 o'clock. And then lunch afterwards, sponsored by Piedmont Natural Gas. Yes, ma'am. To be determined. How's that?
They have theirs for whole year. So we need people to start volunteering.
So you just volunteered for the whole year?
I volunteer for February.
Oh, I heard the whole. You know, it's funny you say that, and Ronnie, thank you, because we're still waiting on Krispy Kreme donuts from the November meeting that somebody in this room was supposed to brawl.
Oh.
Not calling them names, but his initials of Robert Nichol.
Oh.
What'd you volunteer for, Amy? Oh, gosh.
I volunteered to eat donuts, but they never showed up. How's that?
Yeah. With that, does anybody have anything else? For the new ones here, thank y'all for being here. We look forward to seeing you for the next 10 months, because we don't meet in December. Or y'all can, but I'm not. I'm off at times, so, but if nobody's got, has anybody got anything on computer end?
Yes, sir.
Okay, just like to make sure nobody's got anything in here. Thank y'all. As Court said, safe travels. Be careful out there with the weather being as nasty as it is. One last thing I would like to add, and I know y'all